Hello!
Welcome back to the thing where we do a video. Hello.
So last time,
Takano had a breakdown.
Takano definitely had the moral high ground, as always, through this series, mind
She's
you.
a very reasonable character.
Extremely reasonable.
She has no tendency to, overblow situations. I was wrong, actually. There are 2 screens on screen 3 that we still have to do, but that's fine. We'll get those done soon enough. The next one is on screen 5, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we don't have to have angry Takano anytime soon. Although she may be angry in this scene too, but probably not. Looks like not.
I guess it's this one or that one? I don't remember the watermelon.
You want to pick one?
I'm going to say this one.
Okay. It is not that one. It is the other one. The wind one. The Ryuga's family move is required. A watermelon, because Ryuga came to get the watermelon, remember, and she had only her crappy little basket to carry it in.
Oh, yeah, yep.
That seems to be a common theme, like a weird common theme that all these characters are like, I'm going to take this thing home, but my basket isn't big enough. If only there was a character I could have a dialogue with that would accompany me for this scene. Like, that just seems to be a segue. Look, it's a segue that Ryuga's
It's all
decided to
foreshadowing
use.
for Rena's kidnapping arc. Where
Obviously.
she takes home every character in the story and they all just have a conversation.
They all just fit inside of her basket and they have a conversation there.
And then they just all go home.
Yeah, and they all go to Rena Ryuga's home and they live out their days in her mansion.
Let's go.
Let's go. New wind. What's happening here? It's the Sonozaki place, so it's probably Mion.
Oh, okay. I'll get going. Thank you.
Don't mention it. Come back anytime, okay?
You got that backwards, but I don't know with who.
I don't know who's talking.
Hi, I'm home. Hi, Uncle Hiroshi.
Uncle Hiroshi.
Long time no see.
Yeah, hey, Mion-chan. No, you going home? Oh, I have to give my clients a ride.
Clients?
My
Is this the lawyer
clients.
are you the lawyer from last arc?
Yeah, that's me.
I don't.
I'm gonna go home and do some jiggling.
Right. Talking about your realtor business. Okay.
If you get that reference, let me know in the comments. I'll be very
I didn't
impressed.
even hear what the reference was.
Commence the jiggling.
I don't get the reference.
I know you don't. You haven't watched that show.
I don't watch any shows.
I know you don't.
I don't experience joy.
You just watch Lucifer over and over again.
I'm censoring
Mion.
that.
What? What do you think Mion's favorite TV show is? Assuming she watches any TV shows at all. Do you think she has she's like into crime dramas or soap operas? I think she's into like romantic comedies.
She seems like the kind of person that just plays board games and complains
That's
about
dumb.
other people wasting their time watching TV.
That's boring. I think she probably watches romantic comedies and enjoys them, but she won't let anybody know because she has to keep up her manly persona.
I agree.
Incredibly manly persona that she has. Well established at this point in the story. The Sonozaki family is one of the largest landowners here in the Hinamizawa area.
Never would have guessed.
As you may know by them being a literal mafia syndicate. However, since all the land is out here in the countryside, it just ends up sitting there. Recently, the land, here we go. The land owned by the Sonozaki family was put up in sale in lots. At the family meeting, some of our, wait, hold on. Who's speaking then?
Some of our relatives opposed the idea by saying that we shouldn't sell off our lines. Because that was handed down from our ancestors.
Whatever.
But Granny snapped and shut them right up.
Whatever. Why would she call the Sonozaki family? She is the Sonozaki family.
She's the
next head.
Listen, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Whatever. Mion, your inner monologue shit doesn't make any sense.
Your inner monologue hasn't even appeared in this book, so don't talk shit to me.
What? Are you talking?
At least I'm getting paid for being in this story.
No, it's true. I haven't paid shit. I get paid in free lunches and watermelon.
Sometimes you don't even get that.
It's true.
Some of the unused fields were made into vacant lots and released for public sale. Actually, I had some questions about it too. The Sonozaki family is very wealthy.
I am a part of.
We have plenty of land as well as money. So why did we have to sell it off? What's more surprising to me is that Granny was the one who came up with the idea. I would have thought she'd get furious if someone even mentioned something like that.
Okay, if you're ever near the station, be sure to stop by. I'll treat you a cup of bowl of tea.
Sure, thank you very much. How's your business going?
Oh yeah, I'm surprised. I actually see the folks who are interested. They must just be those nouveau riche types who live in the big city. And also they want a house in the countryside.
Well, I guess some people are curious.
There's one family seeking to move here, not purchase a villa. He said he wants to build a studio, so he must be some kind of Pompeianas of some sort.
That's great.
Real classic guy. Oh gosh, I better go now. Whoa.
Supposedly he planned a tour to show them the lots and he's the one driving the bus.
Oh my god.
Should be about time for the tour and explanations to end. He left in a hurry. Hey, can I ask you something? Why did you want to sell our land? You don't like newcomers?
Wait, who's this character? Is
I
this
don't
the
know,
same guy?
Ario? I guess
What?
she's the one that wanted to sell the land.
I guess so. It's just a strange transition. I'm sorry.
It is.
Oh, I don't like newcomers, and I don't like big city people either. But the village needs them. It's like ventilating a room.
Just checking out vents are open.
They are open. I can see it from here. It's open.
I know, I'm checking the others though.
Oh, okay.
Such as the one taped shut.
I was going to say, isn't that one always taped shut because insects get in?
Yes.
That's a problem. Look, I remember
I haven't
shit.
taken that tape down since I put it up 5 years ago. And I'm
it's
kind
just
of
better
curious
since-
to see if I was to peel it off, how many bugs would be stuck dead to the back of it.
I don't want to know. I don't ever want to see that. I just want to imagine that there's none and move on with my life.
I'm still kind of surprised that no one's walked in here and seen that painter's tape and be like, oh, did you repaint that recently? So I can be like, no, it's a graveyard.
That's why I keep the corpses. The bodies.
Is it good for the village to have new people move in?
This is a wonderful village, but the world is changing quickly. In the past, a very small change took 10 or even 20 years to happen. Oh, it was such a quiet and unchanging village.
And the finest shows. Sorry.
What?
Don't worry.
What?
Don't worry.
As fine as what?
Don't worry.
I'm scared.
Don't worry.
I don't even know what you just said.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna
Good.
have
The
to-
audience will know. You won't.
I'll have to wait till the episode comes
will.
out, and then I'll find out.
Well, that's rural life.
It is.
In this village, nothing is different yesterday and today.
Until the government starts buying out the houses up the road, and then there's traffic suddenly.
Too boring for me, though.
It's so weird. But you made a friend, didn't you? Oh, that Ryuko-chan moved here, and you got along great. You told me you were happy that you had a friend your age.
Yeah, making friends unexpectedly is fun.
Oh, I remember you saying that school is boring when Rena-chan is absent. Do you remember that?
Are you saying that's the good thing about letting new people move here?
No matter how cold it gets, you still have to ventilate your living space. Otherwise, it gets filled with bad air and bugs, and you'll suffocate to death. You open the window, even knowing the freezing cold air will come in. There she is.
Letting outsiders move here is like ventilating the village.
Oh, sure. It lets fresh air in and gets rid of bad air like us.
If I bring up the Hojo family, I know Granny will explode, so I won't. But I think what Granny is trying to say includes things like their ongoing isolation. Even now, when she remembers about what happened at the explanatory meeting, she gets very upset. But I guess even she feels that needs to come to an end. But of course, she can't say that she'll forgive them, not when she's at this stubborn age. She can't lose face by openly saying they need to be forgiven. Honestly, I think she's behaving like a little schoolgirl who actually likes a person but treats them rudely when they're around.
You baka.
Maybe people really do go back to being children when they get old enough. Not just talking about Granny, the same can be said of about half of all the old people in the village. No, maybe I should say they're evil around here. That must be what she meant by bad air. There's no use circulating the air in a closed room. Unless you open the windows and let fresh air in, the air in the room won't be purified. We don't know if there's actually going to be people moving here, but don't you think you're expecting too much from whoever does?
No, definitely not. Just Rena-chan moving here changed you, Mion. Whoever moves here will change this village. If possible, I hope some young and energetic people who have the charisma to lead will appear. They need to be the ones to put us old people away into heaven.
Unlike you, Mion.
You dick, you old man.
You're thinking about Gramps.
Damn you, nobody's thinking about him. Yeah, have the housekeeper put away the tea set on the veranda.
Okay, I will.
Mion. The day Hojo Satoshi disappeared, you came to me, huh?
Yeah, I guess I did.
That is, what woke me up. This problem with the Hojo family, we can't just let time take care of it. We have to take care of it ourselves as soon as possible.
But you can't do it yourself, so you're going to have an outsider take care of it?
That's the best I can do.
No matter how bad your hand is, the next card can change the flow of the game, so maybe it's a good idea to draw on cards from the stack?
I like that philosophy. Your generation will be a new wind. Let that new wind come from the outside, and you'll be the wind from the inside. When both winds create a gale, the gusts will blow away the stale air from the village.
That's the epitome of leaving your problems to the others. You're the one who started the fire and you're trying to have your grandchild take care of it?
Oh, don't say that. As the new leader of the Sonozaki family, bring the new wind into the village.
If you're saying that's my job as your successor.
Please, Mion. I'm too old. The only thing I can do now is to be despised by people.
The wind chimes sounded quietly.
Ding.
Maybe that's a sign to let us know a cool breeze is on the way.
A breeze from the outside that'll blow everything away. But there's still a chance that it'll murder everyone.
Shout out to Ario Sonozaki retroactively taking credit for Keiichi being a good person.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Somebody should do something, said the people with the power to do something.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much the philosophy that's being thrown around here.
This one?
Hold on. Hold your butt.
It's gotta be this
one.
one.
What was that? That was number 36. Number 37 is not that one.
What?
It is... What the hell is it? It's on screen 3. It's time for Angry Takano Face. The death of Koizumi Sensei is required.
Oh god.
Time for you to be sad and evil. It's time. Maybe we should wrap up for now. I don't think you're in the mood today.
Nah, that's not true.
There's a face.
Sorry if I gave you that impression.
Takano-san has been looking through the viewfinder, but I haven't seen her push the shutter at all. Well, while she came along, I don't think she's in the mood for bird watching. Takano-san has been depressed ever since the announcement of the new policies at the board meeting the other day. It's understandable. The Erie Institute was created by her in the first place. It was created so that she could devote her life to researching Hinamizawa syndrome. For all that to be tossed aside or being asked to wrap up work within just a few years, of course she's depressed. Can't do anything in 3 years. Besides, she can't even fully spend the rest of the time left on research. Their funding was being cut in stages, and by the end, they'll barely be able to finish closing up, let alone research anything. I heard that she's the granddaughter of the late Dr. Takano.
You heard? She told you.
I was going to say, but she denied it, didn't she? Wasn't that like that whole scene?
No,
like,
she said that he can't tell anyone.
Oh, you're totally right. Why? That is weird. Why would they even have this note? Whatever. I heard from someone on the wind. Her determination to finish her grandfather's research is what kept her going until today. Since everything has been going so smoothly until recently, the sudden change in the wind's direction must have been a total shock. The shift in people pulling the strings must be pretty serious. The board of directors has completely changed out, and she heard that people and projects influenced by the Koizumi faction, TM, were being restructured to set an example. The wind's new direction seemed likely to remain for a long time. It's highly unlikely the Koizumi faction will come back into power, so no matter what we say, it's almost impossible to expect the same kind of support from them.
Isn't there something we can do?
Takano-san muttered. Unfortunately, there isn't. There's nothing anybody can do. At first, the board talked about halting the research immediately, but after lots of convincing, they finally agreed to make it a gradual suspension over a few years. The people who helped us when the Erie Institute was first created are the ones who managed that.
I see. While it looks like the worst case scenario, it's actually someone else's hard-earned victory, huh?
3 years was the best they could do. I tried too, you know. I used your data to try and explain to the board how important this research is.
Only 3 more years, huh?
Maybe Takano-san doesn't understand how hard I tried to convince them. Because what she just said tells me the length of time left really doesn't matter to her. The important thing is that her research is being stopped. The fact is that I couldn't meet her expectations and made her feel disappointed. As a man, it kind of hurts. The best I can do at this point is route as much funding as possible towards the research so that you can work to your heart's content for the few years we have left. I'm sorry, I can't do anything else.
That's okay. If that's the best you can do, then I'm very happy.
Oh no, he's hurt. Her words hurt me. I wish she'd chosen different ones, but I think that would be asking too much from someone so heartbroken. I must be understanding of her pain at a time like this. Besides, I know how close she was to the deceased Koizumi-sensei. She even called him uncle a couple of times. To her, his death is not just the start of a coup or a change in direction. She lost a person who was always looking after her. No matter how hard she pushed herself to act villainous, she wasn't supposed to be part of this world. She was just a naughty woman. But she was intrigued by Inaoizawa syndrome, and she had to find help from someone who had more power than her to be able to continue research on it. The dark side of the world she should never have gotten involved in, extended its hands out to her. She was left all by herself in that world, and she's still trying to put on a brave face. I'm sure Takano-san thinks I'm unreliable. Realistically, I'm not the kind of person who can meet her expectations, nor do I have the power to. The least I can do for her is stay sincere and remain her ally until she murders me.
Good plan.
Poor Tomitaki. He's just such a good boy. He's just a good egg. Like, he just genuinely enjoys birdwatching and he's trying to do the best for the girl that he likes. And then she murders him.
What are you gonna do? That's the life of an anime character.
That's life. That's the life of Soldier A. Oh my god. Anyway, shout out to old memes.
I'm not familiar with old memes.
So Soldier A is a song that was, I guess, just written for like the soldier that gets killed at the start of every anime show. And someone made it. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Someone made one that was for Tomitaki, and it's just like a montage of him dying over and over again. Soldier A, something anime, and he's like, I got demoted to sex offender B when I wanted to be civilian A, but I guess I'll go back to B and Soldier A. Like it's great. It's a great song.
Poor Tomitaki.
Poor Tomitaki. Poor Soldier A. Since she had so much room to act, it's harder for her to determine what actions to take when she's cornered. I wanted to believe she wouldn't, but I'm concerned that she might do something drastic eventually. I hope I can be of help to... Oh, God. I hope I can be of help to her in that very final moment before she makes her move. But I can't even gain enough trust from her to do that. How pitiful and pathetic. Of course, part of it is, as a man, I want her to rely on me. But that's not really it. She's been abandoned in this world and is all alone, so somebody has to be her ally. And if I'm the only one who knows about that, then being her ally is my job. I know her too well, so I know that she'll never ask for help. Even if she says it's unnecessary, someone has to be with her. I know that. I don't really think I'm suited for that job. I'm sure that there are many reliable people out there who are even more appropriate for the position than me. But I can't let her be alone until that person appears. Takano-san, I know that I'm pathetic and unreliable.
What's this all of a sudden? What is it, Jiro-san?
What a cutie. But I think I can be of help to you, so...
Thank you. But I don't believe that talking to people helps you feel better. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm happy to hear that you're concerned. I really am.
Takano, that's the entire point of the novel. You can't say that.
That's why she's the villain.
Okay.
The murder doesn't matter. That line. That's all.
That line is a real crime against Ryukishi. Okay. That's fine. I'll always be on your side. Please. Believe that, okay?
Instead, I believe that talking to parasites and blaming them for all of your problems is the best way to go about things.
Declaring war on God is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it in the latest Final Fantasy game. So I think I give it a try.
If I just get a muscle car and team up with some boys with fancy haircuts.
It's true. Really, she should get Saban on her team. I think he'd do a good job. She could suplex the parasite somehow.
Of course I will.
Anyway.
If you think of a good idea to convince the board, please let me know, okay?
Sure, I'll do my best. Why is it? I know she's such a strong person and there's nothing someone like me can do for her. But somehow I feel she needs help and support right now. She looks as tough as ever, but only I, who has been taking pictures of her all this time, can tell. Have you found her after all? Oh my god. I can't believe we're actually getting this line. Have you found her after all is also a window to look into someone's heart. But if I say something like that, she'll tease me again, so I won't. Anyway, I never thought she needed support more stronger than I do right now. What a fucking romantic boy. I love him. I love Tomitaki. I love him. He's me.
They've truly done him a disservice by not having him like feature at all in any of the previous arcs.
I know. He's finally getting characterization beyond just dumb muscle boy.
Well, beyond just being the one that dies.
The murder victim. Oh, I love him. What a great character.
You know what else I was thinking about before we recorded today?
Uh-huh.
Okanogi.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did he not feature at all in the entire rest of this story? It would have been so much more compelling if the gardener, this entire story, ended up being the twist surprise, like, super secret agent guy.
Dude, that'd be great. Well, that's the thing. I guess it's just that Ryukishi was still, like, molding that idea in his head.
Yeah, clearly, for sure.
I mean, look, we've discussed this 1,000 times. It's pretty fucking obvious at this point, but, like, Okanogi as a character is present, like, in the background of all the way back in Arc 1. He's in every fucking arc because he's in the van, along with his muscle men.
Well, yeah.
But like Okanogi as a character doesn't feature. I mean, in the anime, I don't even think he's in Arc 6. I think he's only in Arc 7. I think he pops up at the end.
Yeah, he wasn't in Arc 6, I don't think.
Yeah. But in the VN, obviously, he is in 6.
The thing that kind of frustrates me most about it, though, thinking back about it, is that like the van thing in Onokakashi would have been... Admittedly, I don't know how well Ryukishi could have pulled it off as his like first novel. So
sure. Well, that's something we gotta always figure.
But I think that it would have been so much better instead of like having the van do the thing, and then the next time the van shows up is what, like the end of arc 6?
That's a good question. I don't remember
because they come and garden the school in arc 6. I think
Arc 6. Arc 6, they come and garden the school, and they're like a big plot point. Because
and they're also like following.
Because Ren is
around.
actually like figuring shit out. They're monitoring her.
But like, it would have been so much nicer to have like the van introduced in Arc 1, then in Arc 2 have Okanogi show up as a gardener, and you're like, oh, okay, so Keiichi was crazy, and he thought that the gardener was a bit of a reckless driver, was trying to knock him down, right?
Yeah, and then it turns out that
he was right all along.
Yeah, of course.
But instead, he just kind of shows up, and you're like, what?
Yeah. He's so cool, but like, yeah, you're right. He's one of the characters that clearly Ryukishi came up with later down the track, because he was like, I need someone to represent all these faceless thugs, and it can't really be Tomotaki because he's supposed to be sympathetic, and it can't really be Takano because she's like too deranged and not that like physically capable for the most part. So it has to be this other character. And so he was like, I guess they're a character now in my story.
I mean, just think, the scene I think back on most, and this is kind of a weird example, but there's one scene I think in Arc 2 where Uishi and the police chief, I believe, go to a bar and they're just discussing what they think about the crime.
Yeah.
And I was like, how sick would it have been to have Okanogi there at the bar?
Oh my god!
And but he's just like there at the bar with his colleagues, just telling a story.
Sure.
And Uishi goes like, oh, and the Okanogi, the local gardener at the table over, was putting on a really convincing Tokyo accent as he was impersonating city folk in his story. Yeah. And then it ties back around later on. Like there would be so many opportunities to like foreshadow it in the most stupid ways that would pay off so well.
That would be really fun, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? This is all stuff that Ryukishi, I hope, has learned from this story, and that he's gonna implement in later stories. Not that we can confirm or deny that he does do that, but he does. Believe it or not, Ryukishi gets better at foreshadowing character twists in his stories.
That's crazy.
After finishing Higurashi, he's like, yo, I understand this foreshadowing thing now. Let's go. Let's fucking go ham on foreshadowing. So we're not on this screen anymore. We're going to screen 5. It's the top left. So we'll spoil it for you.
Preview of Lots for Sale.
Lots for sale. Lots of what? I don't know what to do. Oh, it's Ichiro Maebara. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, my name is Ichiro Maebara, and I am hopelessly lost. I came now he's on a tour to find a lot for my vacation home, and when the realtor finally finished explaining some details, he told us to take a walk until the departure time.
Now he's holding me at gunpoint.
And now these little girls are trying to kill me. Such beautiful scenery and fresh air. I let my senses guide me, and here I am. Where the hell am I? What a fucking scene. I still have a little time before the departure, but I am completely lost. This is basically the middle of nowhere, but people actually do live out here. If I keep on walking, I should run into somebody. Then I can ask them for directions. Don't worry. The only thing I need to keep in mind is the departure time for the bullet train. But the more time passes, the more I start to think I was being a bit too optimistic about running into somebody physical, because I can't find anybody at all. Oh, boy golly gee. Maybe I'm walking farther and farther away from where the people are, in which case I am in serious dog shit. So upon hearing someone's voice, I feel immensely relieved. Sounds like little girls are playing nearby. If it's a place where little girls can play, it must be a safe-ass village. I followed those voices. Who could it possibly be? Upon rounding the wild pampas grass, I can see a beautiful field. 2 girls are playing there. The 2 girls are dancing in the field filled with blooming wildflowers. What I'm seeing is more beautiful than all the great works of art I've ever seen put together. Maybe I'm exaggerating just a bit, but this looks holier than any religious painting.
Definitely exaggerating.
Why is it that seeing innocent girls dance around like this makes people feel this way?
Might just be your son.
It definitely is. Just for Higurashi. It's probably because we're sinners. You can't live with pleasure and glory alone. We sin even as we live. That's why we feel awed by the sight of innocence. It reminds us of the time when we were pure. We grow up naturally. And when we lose innocence as we do, and we admire and adore the children who symbolize that which we've lost. He's a hopeless romantic. Meep. There's a suspicious person who's mumbling some weird stuff over there.
First true thing that's been said this entire scene.
Yay, go Rika. Oh, Rika, that's not a suspicious person.
That's the main character for the story's dad.
He's super important.
Don't scare him off.
Oh. I'm sorry, I'm not suspicious.
Yes, you
are. But you've been staring at my chest and legs. Nipas, awkward star. I want an adult. No, I'm not. No, don't turn me in. I wasn't staring. I was using this mirror to fix my beautiful hair. Why does he have a mirror?
I don't know.
He's walking. I don't know what you're talking about, but it sure sounds interesting. Like father, like son. Oh, it's the time thing.
Lamau.
Rika's time powers. The girls teased me for a while, and when they got tired of doing that, they went back to dancing around. A couple of nerds. Realizing that whatever I said would backfire, I decided to leave them alone and sat down and watch them play. I wonder how old they are. They seem rather young, but maybe they could be close to Keiichi's age. If we move here, Keiichi might meet them at school. If you would see them at school, then they were girls that lived here. If all the children...
What is that sentence?
Who knows? Who knows what that means?
If he would see them at school,
who knows? Let's just keep going.
They were children that lived here.
Let's just keep going. Let's just get over with this scene. This is an awkward scene. It also has some weird lore implications because he can see Hanyu despite not being infected yet. This is, unless he is, in which case, weird shit's going on. Anyway, if all the children in Namis are like them, then even if living a rural life may have some challenges, there's a good reason for us to move here. We're not very good parents. Now, that's the second true thing that's been said. We didn't understand what Keiichi was going through and left him alone until the very end. According to the parenting book I bought, the first 3 problems are calls for help. It doesn't matter what the action itself is, but the fact that those actions are occurring is a primitive appeal from the child seeking communication. Just like that Takano character who wants communication. This thing.
I get it.
It's
like Takano's a reflection of the main cast.
Yeah, it is.
That's why she's a compelling villain, despite being just objectively badly written.
No, she's great. I know what you talk about.
Neither do I.
She's a hot nurse. What can you hate about her?
Okay, stop.
I'm just saying she
you can't
is.
complain about this scene being awkward and then say things like that.
But I'm not objectifying a small child. It's fine. It's no problem.
Yeah, of course, because objectifying old people is...
Old people? Are you saying Takano's old?
Takano's definitely older than you fucking zoomer.
Is that a problem? I don't see any problem here. She's older than me. I older lady nurse. Look, I'm okay with that. Takano, how you doing? Girl?
I hate this and I want it to stop. Read your line.
Okay. Humans can speak, and that's just one of the reasons why we don't take notice. We don't notice such signs. Like when to stop. We've been talking for way too long. We can only hear words through our ears. Oh my god. And we can't sense the sign coming from our son's heart. Keiichi, he probably thinks it's all his fault. Of course, he's not absent of blame. Humans aren't dogs or cats. We should know what's right and what's wrong, but it's our fault too, as his parents, to let him think that he had to go that far for us to be able to understand him. There's a lot of little words. It's really pathetic and disappointing of us, because we're the worst. If we had understood him and hadn't cornered him, Keiichi would have done that. So the incidents weren't only Keiichi's fault, just 9%. Everyone in the Mayabara family was to blame. I would have explained that to him, but he's still too young and odd-headed to be able to understand. Right now, they killed his field and is basically crushing him under its weight. He doesn't even have the will to live. My wife is the same. She's blaming herself for forcing him to study for better grades. She thinks that's why the incidents took place. And I'm no different. I'm blaming myself for not being involved in my son's education. I think that's why the incidents took place. The cross will be forever on our shoulders, even after the injured child accepts their apologies. Yet our cold society would tell us to die under the weight of that cross. Even so, we have to live. We have to accept our sins and carry our burdens on our shoulders. Maybe we could start a new life here in this village. I thought about all that as I watched this girls dance. Keiichi needs friends like them. Friends like those girls will offer him so much more than the friends who only talked about cram schools and exam results. The girls are playing near a sign that doesn't fit into this open field. It's a sign about lots for sale, and the name of the realtor who brought me here for the tour is written on it. Does that mean we can live, even in this beautiful area if we want to?
If I cut out all the grass and build a giant concrete slab on top of it, can I live in this paradise?
Will it be mine? One of the girls spoke as if reading my mind. Oh, this is a wonderful village. You'll find lots of things you don't have in a big city. Yeah, that's right. I think so too. But I think you'll bring some things from the city to this village that we don't have. Do we have anything? Sure you do. Oh, wow. Oh my God. We've lived in this village for hundreds of years, just like this. Nobody comes to visit and nothing happens, and so nothing ever changes. Isn't that what's good about this place? Didn't you come here because you wanted to change something? Well, yeah, you're right about that. Small child. We want new people to come here too. It's like breaking the dam.
I get it!
Breaking the dam that keeps the swamp water from flowing out. Water is purified by moving. If it stays motionless, then it's just a swamp. So we better get that cold air in. Oh, in fact, this village used to be named after a swamp up until the Meiji era.
That's where I live.
Oh no. But the name was changed to Inamizawa. The water in a swamp stagnates because it doesn't flow, but the water in a stream stays fresh. Besides, you all are the ones who will teach us that dams can be broken, should be broken. Are they playing riddles with me? There's 20 questions. I have no idea what they're trying to say. And that girl has a frog face. But there's one thing I do know. The villagers are waiting for new people to come out here, and they want to build a future with those newcomers. I looked at the sign behind the girls one more time. Said I'd remember this place. I've already decided. We'll be waiting for you to move here, Mahabara.
How did they know mine?
Oh, there you want to take this character?
Isn't this the same realtor that you were playing like 2 scenes ago, Ben?
Sure.
Come on.
Oh, there you are.
You've already done all the lines in
this. How did you jiggle out this far out?
Raspy voice from the distance ended this innocent moment.
It's the realtor. I guess he's been looking for me because I didn't return. Oh, sorry about that. I got lost. I apologize while scratching the back of my head. I turned around and looked for the girls, but they vanished like they never even existed.
There was
like
just a police
ghosts.
box slowly fading out in the distance.
Was that a Doctor Who reference?
It was a Doctor Who reference.
Okay. I took that in a different direction. I'm sorry. Anyway, there we go.
Oh, I thought Uishi's just out there blasting his air conditioning.
I have you now, pervert. Takes him away. New timeline unlocks within my bars are in jail.
Fuck it,
The
finally.
whole family. All right. What was that? 38? Yeah.
I don't know.
Back to
you're
screen
keeping
3. Back to screen 3. We're up to Keiichi, I think.
3.
Yeah.
Completion of the medicine C117 is required.
Let's go. Maybe there'll be less voices for me.
Hey, Nakagawa-kun.
Yo,
Long time no see.
girl.
Still at it lately. You know, that. What is going on?
I don't know. No, not at all. It's no fun getting old.
You've got to concentrate when you work with clay.
What was this scene called? Did you check? What it was called for some context?
I always read what's required. I never read the titles.
You know, you're right. It is funny that our like vision is drawn to the requirements rather than the actual title first. I wonder what design decision bullshit that is. You gotta concentrate when you work with clay, said your character.
If you put it off for a long time, your senses get dull, and there's no point.
True. Sensei, allow me to introduce someone. This is Mage Takano. She's real cool. Very nice to meet you. Something. Wait, what is going on here?
I think it's your character greeting Takano.
I guess so.
I don't know what's going on in this scene.
I don't know what's going on either. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for taking time to meet with me today. I truly appreciate it. I think that was Takano talking.
Maybe?
She just hasn't appeared.
We just take a point for this scene.
Take a scene, point. 1 point, bam. Look, as long as we still have the truck, that's the main thing.
I didn't really make time for you, actually. I was told I could have some good
That's not Takano.
raw sea urchins. Sea urchins
Maybe.
are good for you, did you know? Rich in vitamin A, and they are good for your skin.
Yes.
Women like sea urchins, right?
Women like sea urchins, right, you nerd?
It's true that sea urchins are rich in vitamin A, but compared to spinach, it's not anything that's worth making a fuss about. Well, none of that matters right now. He just seems like an unpleasant man, so I wanted to criticize
That's
him.
gotta be Takano's narration. She's so condescending.
These men are the directors of Google who control the funding for the
shit.
Irie Institute. They're also people who are in the position of being able to offer their opinions to those directors. To put it in a simpler way, they are the new owners of the Irie Institute. Although not as much as Uncle Koizumi was, they are also leaders and influencers in various fields. I have to be very careful not to upset them. And therefore, there's no way I would have had the ability to call them in. By using the influence that the Koizumi faction once had, I finally managed to get this chance. Uncle Koizumi, who gave me his full support and made everything go my way, is not here anymore. I'm on my own from this point on, and I will open up a path. But this stage just doesn't belong to me today. I can't let the people who offered me this chance lose face, so I have to wait patiently until it's my turn. My primary objective today is to explain what a prominent research subject the Hinamizawa syndrome is, and acquire an indefinite extension for our research. They only ever think about money, so they aren't even realizing the hidden potential of Hinamizawa syndrome. They don't recognize that it's worth spending a lot of money on. This is not mere research on the existence of an unknown parasite, but something that may overthrow the basic foundations of anthropology. A Nobel Prize wouldn't even be enough. It would be easy trying to explain all that to men who know nothing about any of it, but I have to. That's why I spent many hours making these straightforward support documents with pictures. Sometimes we make documents confusing on purpose because we don't like dealing with uneducated people, but this time it's different. I can't look down at them. I must sincerely try to make them understand.
Is that a common thing, do you think? That scientists are like, we don't really want to like be here for this, so we're just going to make it look good and just move on.
Okay, having read more academic papers than I really have any reason to.
I can't read those. They're too much. They're awful.
I tend to find that normally they are written in a way that is kind of exclusionary to people,
that's true.
myself included, who don't really understand the topic.
Yeah.
But it's more people develop the opinion that people aren't smart enough to study it because they write it in such like it's kind of a cycle rather than it is a straight line cause and effect.
I have found that when I actually sit down to like read an academic paper, I will end up Googling a couple of terms and then be like, oh, this isn't actually that complicated.
Yeah,
that's how they usually go.
That's normally what it is.
Yeah. Because they're trying to like explain things in, that's why I'm curious. Like, I don't know if it is necessarily to confuse people, but they write in a way that is down to the minutia and in the most specific language possible for things that practically have no value. That is my impression.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think of it in the way that a few of my friends who have done engineering talk.
Sure.
And that is very much that typically in the field that you are using the information, you are dealing with people who understand it. Yeah. So taking the extra time to change the way you would describe something to suit those people isn't worth your time.
Sure.
So like, you know,
So explain it, quote unquote.
yeah. So the way
sure.
that one of my engineering friends explained it to me is that it's like his customers are also engineers. So why would he write for marketing people?
Yeah, sure.
And like, I don't know. It's kind of obnoxious, but it also has a practical application.
Sure. No, fair enough. Yeah, I know. I'd be curious to know if there are any companies in particular that like their brand is to just make things as complicated as possible so that people just buy the thing and, you know, don't think about it. You know, that'd be
Interestingly, kind of the inverse, actually. And I think I might have brought this up on one show or another before, but
Sure.
I find that a lot of websites that do the other way around, where they like take academic papers and try to translate it into language that people understand, often end up really struggling to keep themselves afloat because a
Right.
lot of even once translated stuff is really dry.
Sure.
So
They're in the middle ground, right?
yeah,
They're
so a lot of like
this isn't valuable, but it's also not interesting.
So a lot of like academic translation websites, for lack of a better term, end up going really clickbait because there is no viable financial way for that business model to work without like a pre-existing dedicated audience.
Yeah. I will also say that this isn't necessarily research papers, but like whenever I'm reading something new, I like, because I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to run a lot of role-playing games. And so in like trying to run like sci-fi things or fantasy stories, you end up having to like learn a lot of facts that you'd never thought you'd have to learn. Like rate of like it was a thing that spurred me to like learn about like rates of decomposition and like the way that sound travels. It means that particularly when I'm running like just as an example, like when I'm running D&D, my favorite session that I actually ran was when I deployed a creature called a Sturge, which is like the shittest monster in the book. But I managed, because I described like the cave that the characters were in, like dripping dirt, and like the way that the storm sound like echoed the sound, and like all these little details. And this was using jargon that I'd learned just from like reading papers and reading articles.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, this is a phrase that's like really evocative and like means something really simple. But because I was like using all these phrases that I've read and like learned about, I managed to make this really insignificant creature like sound really terrifying just because of the very specific language that I was using.
Yeah.
And I tend to find that also helps on this show as well, when I'm like trying to enunciate a point, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's one of the interesting things, is because the reason I read a lot of papers is for the stuff I do on 2SER. I end up interviewing a lot of academics, and I like to be able to ask...
Speak their language.
Yeah, well, not necessarily speak their language, but ask questions that are actually pointed in a way that uncover things.
Sure.
Rather than asking the, like...
Yeah, the same question over and over again.
Yeah.
Is what you tend to see.
It's like, it's a really weird exercise, because you do get a lot of, like, alternative language that you can use in certain places, but it's also like you don't want to cross a threshold where you go so far down that rabbit hole that you just end up becoming the marketing guy who doesn't want to sell to you end up becoming the engineering guy who doesn't want to like sell to marketing.
Sure. Well, that's a rabbit hole that you never come back from, I imagine. You become some kind of psychopath. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything, but
Anyhow, sometimes we make documents confusing on purpose because we don't like dealing with uneducated people, but this time it's different. I can't look down at them. I must sincerely try to make them understand. The accessible support documents are there in a huge pile. Feels like we're wasting time eating traditional Japanese food in such a relaxed mood. Want to get to the point and explain to them in detail so they can understand. But there's the saying, luck lies in the last helping. I have to be patient right now.
that's a saying. See, I just learned something right there. I'm going to use that. Let's go. To be frank, I thought the Goo project we've seen wasn't that good. That's a bad sentence. In the end, it's been nothing but a sandbox for the old men with their heads still stuck in the Pacific War. Nothing but a sandbox for those old men to craft their dreams of Imperial Japan's revival with money that isn't theirs. Do you know how much public funding was wasted on those delusions?
From what I've heard. God, that just sounds like Takano whenever I speak.
I know. I had that problem with Oishi now because I've been speaking in Irie's voice. Maybe cut this, but like I've been speaking in Irie's voice for so long with the like, yeah. Now whenever I try to do Oishi's voice, I'm like slipping into it.
I notice
it's so weird.
Your Irie right after doing Satoshi is different to your Irie after speaking as any other character in the story.
It's always European accents just like blending into each other. It's a problem.
We really should get some like training on it, but
we should.
It would cost a lot of money that we don't have. From what I've heard, there are already prosecutors looking. From what I've heard, there are already prosecutors poking people like Okino Sensei and trying to pin embezzlement on the old board of directors.
Not Okino Sensei. Ha ha! That's what you get for trying to suck up to those old men. Of course, none of it can be made public, so I guess they'll be held responsible or demoted in another form. This is what the country gets for letting those ghosts of the war run around freely all this stupid time. Boy, oh boy, these grilled sea urchins are fantastic. Ha ha ha! Is this time?
Well, this is harsh. I realize it's extremely difficult to ask this of you all when you feel that way, but might I have a moment of your time?
You're from the Erie Institute, aren't you? You're researching some kind of local disease in Nagano or Gifu, right? What's going on down there, Doc?
The board has decided to halt the research for the military application.
Oh, no.
The research project itself is to wrap up within 3 years as well. Oh, no, sorry, that's still being discussed. Anyhow, our work is scheduled to be shut down within a few years.
Yeah, I remember now. The Erie Institute had a bad reputation, even among the old board of directors. After all, it sucked up huge funds and barely any inspections. I don't know why, but someone high up kept pushing for it for some reason. Because of that, nobody could really say anything about it. It was left alone. But, you know, that guy loved to float around with women, so maybe that had something to do with it. Ah!
Is he implying that I slept with Uncle Koizumi?
Yes.
Is insulting both of us. But I held my anger in.
Punch him.
I can't let myself be bothered by something like this.
Punch that man.
Anyway, today I would like to explain to you the details of our institute's research and ask you to reconsider your decision. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this meeting today.
Well, I guess they don't give out free sea urchins for nothing, huh?
I explained to them how much the Hinamizawa syndrome mattered while being very careful not to go too fast. I tried to let them know that the syndrome's potential is not limited to small things like military applications, but is much more meaningful than that. It may explain ideology and religion, may even shake the very definition of a human being. I took my time to explain as slowly and as clearly as possible. I'm not confident that all of it had gotten through to these boorish men, but I'm happy if they understood even just a part of it, as long as they understood how much of a magnificent discovery Hinamizawa syndrome really is.
Thank you, Major. I see,
We would like to discuss amongst ourselves, so could you please excuse yourself? Yes, thank you.
Get out of the room.
Obviously, they can't discuss in front of me. I left all the documents with them. All I could do now was hope they viewed them favorably. I left the room and closed the sliding door. The room next door is a preparation room, so I was to head there. But I stopped. I shouldn't have done it, but I tried to listen in through the sliding door.
She's growing a conscience all of a sudden. Well, I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for everyone on the previous board of directors.
I know how you feel. Koizumi-sensei pushed this so strongly.
I met him once before when he became founding director of the Blank Pharmaceuticals. He seemed like a very intelligent person to me.
I guess you just can't win against age. It makes you realize how important it is for humans to know when to pull out.
But it is a fact that this very rare disease called Hinamizawa syndrome really exists, so not everything is a delusion.
I hear the Area Institute has already succeeded in identifying the disease and developing a treatment. Isn't that enough?
In Japan, we have to be careful with things that might make neighboring countries nervous, and military-related issues are the most sensitive ones. So, at the very least, we must erase the fact that research for military purposes has been going on for the past few years immediately.
Is that separate from simply discontinuing the military research, then?
Yes. Even if we stopped it immediately, the fact that this Hinamizawa syndrome was being researched in order to create a biological weapon remains. We should hide the fact, no matter what purpose this research ends up being used for. If possible, it would be best if Hinamizawa syndrome just disappears.
That's true. If the disease remains, then sooner or later someone will be curious about it and dig up the hole we filled. I think we should follow the decision of the board of directors, and as soon as the Uri Institute eradicates the disease, we should have them destroy all evidence of their work before disbanding.
Well, I guess that's for the best. It's not even a matter of a Nobel Prize, it's just useless for post-war Japan.
Besides, this disease has existed for hundreds of years, right? We've made it this far without any problems.
Wow.
From the start, I thought this would amount to little more than just poking around in the bushes.
Me too. I don't doubt the existence of the syndrome, but Dr. Takano, who discovered the disease, is exaggerating more than a little.
He had quite a unique interpretation of things. First of all, I'd never heard of a parasite that's capable of controlling people's thoughts. It's just too much.
If we tried to explain religions with this, then Buddha, Christ, all those people would be, what was it again? Queen carriers? If we tried exposing something like this, we'd be attacked by every nation on the planet.
Religion is pretty scary nowadays.
If there are parasites that live in animal brains, then I guess we could say there are parasites that live in human brains too, but for them to control human thoughts, it's a bit too unique, you know?
As I peeked in through the gap in the sliding door, I became trapped with an unbelievable sense of deja vu.
Oh no.
This is my first time experiencing this, but it doesn't feel that way. I don't know why, but the memory is so sad and so painful. Why? Tears. Before I realized it, I saw a very nostalgic carpeted room on the other side of the sliding door, instead of a room covered in tatami mats. The room is filled with the smell of dust mixed with the smells from evaporated medicine, but it's very soothing to me just the same. And there's my grandfather. His article that he poured his heart into is made a mockery of, yet he wasn't even allowed to cry. This isn't a delusion, because within the document I left those men, there are lots of references to the article my grandfather wrote. So I'm not surprised for my grandfather to be standing right there explaining it to them himself. Together with my tears, I'm seeing the sight of my beloved grandfather. I watch those men insult and belittle his masterpiece. I've seen this sight before, and the sight should have ended there. But why is it repeating before my eyes? I can only blankly peek through the sliding door, this strange world where reality and illusion overlap.
The Major is a little strange, and Koizumi-sensei, who believed in something as ridiculous as this, is a little strange too, but the strangest one of all is the person who wrote this article in the first place.
Blends together expectations and delusions, and looks more like a fiction than a thesis. I think this will be a big hit once it gets published, you know?
You're absolutely right. I have a friend who's the head of a publishing company. I bet he'll love this.
This is not a laughing matter, gentlemen. A huge amount of money was poured into this over the past few years. The worst thing is that the equipment was used to gas the villages in case of an emergency have all been procured.
Shit.
Now people must never learn about this.
For such a plan to exist is scary enough, but if people find out about this equipment, the whole country will turn against us. On top of that, the cost to maintain this equipment is enormous.
Don't really think it's being maintained, do you? Surely this whole project is some kind of money laundering scheme. What did they say anyway? If one girl dies, the whole village will go crazy at once? What kind of comic book is this?
Exactly! Someone actually believes such a childish story and put a huge amount of money into it. Now that's crazy. What's truly ridiculous is that someone actually took these documents seriously.
As he said that, he placed the documents down with an exaggerated gesture. Actually, I should say he slammed them down.
No.
Because the papers ended up scattered all over the floor.
You're too right. Excuse me, I need to use the bathroom.
One of the men stood up and stepped on the papers.
Huh?
And they weren't the papers on the tatami mats, but the ones on the carpet. Right there, I can see my grandfather filled with heart-rending sadness, yet he can't let it show in his face. Grandfather's expression didn't change, yet it seemed distorted to me. I could see the walls of my grandfather's study crumpling and twisting behind him. I jumped into the room. I grabbed onto the man's legs. I don't hate him. It's not whether I hate him or not. Well, sure, I hate him, but that's not it. I can't forgive the feet stepping on my grandfather's article. Don't step on them. My grandpa wrote these. Please don't step on them.
Sorry.
Those feet are still stepping on the papers. I tried to make them move. They won't even budge as though they've grown roots. So I begged as I grabbed onto his legs. Tried to pull the papers from under his feet. I can't move his feet. I can't pull the papers. Don't step on them. Don't step on them. My grandpa's. Don't step on them. My sobbing echoed in that silent room, just like it did back then.
Da-da-da. There you go.
The tragic irony of the fact that those lovely people at the renewed Google project are completely right.
It is insane.
It is absolutely nuts.
Although maybe canon, it's weird. But yeah.
Yeah, that's actually like really strange, isn't it? It's like the interpretation of it being this mind-bending everyone like okay, here's the thing. I think that as evidenced by Rika dying in Watanagashi and Mayakashi and the rest of the village not going crazy.
Yep.
It's wrong, right?
It's not entirely wrong, but yeah.
It falls apart. Like, you know, sure, there can be a parasite that causes people's brain to go a bit meh, but...
Okay. To kill their friends, let's be clear.
Yeah, but nothing like on the constituted consistent scale
Yes.
that this suggests.
Yeah, that line in particular about, like, we're pouring so much money into maintaining this gas that can just kill an entire village, like... That is implied to be unnecessary, because it doesn't seem like everybody died in those arcs. It seems like Rika passed, but the plan wasn't enacted. You know, everything didn't go to shit those times.
Like, to some extent, it's kind of satisfying thinking back on my complaints in Arc 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Where I was like, this is all a load of rubbish. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, that's kind of the point that Higurashi is making, is that, like, the research is being cut, and the higher-ups are saying, isn't your research complete? And they're making it very clear, these scientists are saying, our research is not complete, we don't understand everything about this virus, and we won't unless we get an indefinite amount of time to work on it and, like, explore everything. And so Ryukashi is in some ways, like, plot-proofing himself, because what he's presented us does have room for interpretation, and there is room to say that, like, yeah, the virus isn't actually going to make everyone suddenly die if Rika goes bust. Like, this Queen Carrier business is not necessarily, like, applicable in every, like, way that Takano thinks that it is, you know?
I mean, like, my criticism back then, if I recall correctly, because it has been, like, fucking 6 months or some shit since then. Or longer, actually.
Yeah, but I can talk more openly about it now, so, you know.
But I think my criticism back then was that I felt that it was real to the story because it was spending so much time on it, and that even if it wasn't real to the story, it was still spending too much time on it.
Yes.
And whilst I stand by that, I do
because
like...
you hate fun, yeah. And Renner. You hate Renner.
I do like that this has at least recontextualized it in a way where the first of those points has been somewhat invalidated.
Yeah. I mean, as we've actually talked about this episode, a lot of this is just, you know, Ryukashi he's not just recontextualizing things to give the viewer or the reader better clarity. He's recontextualizing the ideas that he originally had. Like, he's all throughout Higurashi, he has a very loose framework, and he's constantly trying to, like, figure things out and like elucidate the ideas in his mind, which I don't want to get into a full Umineko discussion, but like it's pretty clear that he's doing the inverse in Umineko. Like, he has a very strong idea of very specific details in that story that he lines up from the beginning, whereas in Higurashi, he has just a very simple idea. Like, Higurashi's first arc, he could have just released it on its own and would have never gotten off. Like, it never would have expanded and grown to as huge as it is, and it would have been fine. It would have been just a chill, like, cult classic. Because that's what he's doing right now. He's like figuring things out in his head as to how everything actually fits together, and like he's solving the mystery just as much as he's teaching us what the solution is. Right?
I was talking with Benjamin Stevenson on Death of the Reader a while ago, and I'll link that episode in the description.
Go for it.
About how like the creative endeavor is itself kind of a reflection of the role of the detective, where you're constantly seeking to discover the holes and benefits in the things you're creating. You know, the observational skills, the retelling skills, the contextualization skills, the linking of threads. Like, the role of the detective is actually like a very creatively analogous one when most people think of it as a like purely analytical one. Yeah,
for sure. The role of the author and of the detective in exploring the truth of the story are the same in many ways. Yeah, it's cool. All right, we only have one left. I believe you're just looking at it right now, but I'm gonna double check, because if we come this far and screw up now, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've just got 2 pages of space.
Yep. So yeah, screen 5, top right, Keiichi boy. Finally time for Keiichi Maebara to do his shit.
Jesus Christ, it's been so long since I've been here.
Oh, I love this song.
Fuck, you guys have changed the studio a bit since I was last here.
Get in here. Oh my god, it's time.
This is the school. Yeesh, this really is the sticks.
Fucking Keiichi! Keiichi, don't say stuff like that, you dirtbag! The people in this area love coming here and dancing and shit.
That was my first impression of the Hinamizawa branch school.
And jiggling.
No matter how much I look at it, it doesn't look like a school at all. It even has a sign that says Hinamizawa Forestry
What a
Service.
brat.
Much like this recording studio that very much says bedroom.
Whoa. You're right. We're borrowing the building for the forestry service, says a character who I guess is not his father. Who's the principal?
Oh, you took my
Take
line.
the line. You can have this line.
All right.
Go.
You're right. We're borrowing the building from the forestry service.
Hell yeah.
Said the man.
They called the principal as he laughed heartily.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like it. It is, in fact, a school.
Oh my god.
Yours may be a little different from the one you were previously at. Are you okay with that?
Finally, all your characters are back.
Yeah. I heard all the grades are put in the same classroom at the school. I didn't believe it. I think it's really true. They're all younger than I am, so I guess it'll be like kindergarten. It'll be interesting compared to my previous school where everyone looked the same age.
If you transfer here, you'll be the oldest boy in the class, so you'll have to be a good role model for the younger students. The younger students have the tendency to copy bad habits from the older ones. I'll be keeping my eyes on you, so make sure you're aware of that,
Like
okay?
art murder.
I understand. I'll do my best.
Principal. Wouldn't this be the principal?
This is Dad.
You think this is Dad? All right.
Yeah, otherwise he'd be addressing him with an honorific.
You know what? All right, fine. Keiichi, what she means is that textbooks aren't the only things you learn from. As a member of the class, and also as an older student, you have to be a good example,
I know that already.
said the principal.
Definitely not.
After that, Chie-sensei brought us to an empty classroom and showed me where my desk would be. Since we're all still growing, I'm sure our sizes are very different. There's some desks that are way too small for me to even put my legs under, and also some that are just perfect for me. There are approximately 30 desks in here, but since all the different grades are in the same room, I'm sure it's very lively. There's also a wall full of calligraphy and art from different grades. It's all pretty exciting, nothing like my previous school. It reminds me of the days when I truly enjoyed my school life.
But there were few and far between.
Dad, I like it here. I like the school better than the one in the town.
I think my son likes it here. I want him to go to this school too. Please don't attach this brain parasite from my head.
So dumb. I see. The school in Akademia has more resources and better teachers, though.
What a great scene.
Even while saying that, Chie-sensei looked happy to hear that a new student would be transferring into her class. My father and the teachers went back to the teacher's office to get the transfer process going. In the meantime, I decided to stay in the classroom and look around. I didn't care about the move. I lost the will to live because of what I did.
Aw.
I don't have any willpower and I couldn't even get out of bed. So when my parents told me about the move, I thought that wouldn't change anything.
Would you imagine if you had parents who were like, my child is doing really badly, and they're like, let's just move to like a completely different place to like help them like heal? That'd be pretty sick.
I know people who've done that.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
Here's the thing.
Anyway.
I feel like it would be a lot more people would do it if it was financially accessible.
That's that's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying, if my parents were like, we know you're not doing so well, kid. Let's move to Rivendell and get you to the Healing Elves with Elrond. I think that'd be pretty cool of them. That's all I'm trying to.
Well, we've passed the Lord of the Rings reference threshold, and Rikishi gets a point.
No. It was worth it. It was worth it.
But after the move, something did change. If I want to restart my life, I want to restart my life and become someone I've always wanted to be. Here in Hinamizawa and at the school, I can do that. I'm not going back to who I was. I'll never again think that good grades are the most important thing in the world. I have a feeling I can learn the things that are really important in life here at this school. Never had the chance to learn them before now. It's almost embarrassing to put into words. But they're extremely valuable things, and if you don't learn them, you won't be a decent adult. Decent. The students at this school learned them a long time ago. To them, they're a given. Yet I have to spend time learning about them even at this age. How to make friends, how to play with friends, how to play, things you can only learn from play, things like socializing with others,
Playing with socializing,
etc.
Yeah.
This list is only 1 point long. I didn't really read my notes before we came into the session today.
Okay,
Is that take all right?
I think maybe you could say the word play a couple more times.
Sure, let's do that take again.
Friend with plays. Yeah.
How to make friends to play with, how
There
to
you
play
go.
with friends, how to play,
With friends?
how to learn things you can only learn from play.
From playing with friends.
Things like socializing with others through play.
How to be friendly through play. These are all important
Yeah.
aspects of friends playing and socializing.
Should we do the scene from the top?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. No,
You're just going to repeat it again?
No,
You're just done. You're done with this bit. Let's keep going. There's two etceteras.
I was considering carrying out the bit, and then I'm like,
How long do you want this bit to go on for? Longer than the Mordor bit? This is a question.
It seems so easy, but it'll take me a while to learn them. I pushed those things aside and devoted myself to studying and play.
But 9 hours long.
I'm not trying to say studying isn't important, but you shouldn't become blinded by it.
Yeah.
If someone says studying and good grades are the most important things in life, he's talking bullshit.
That's true.
So I can restart my life here at this school. Finally, I can become someone I've always wanted to be.
Fuck good grades. Learn how to socialize.
I noticed 2 girls looking at me through the window.
Woo?
The schoolyard must also be a playground for these
Rivals.
children because I saw a lot of them playing there earlier. I guess those 2 noticed me walking around the classroom and became curious. I guess that's only natural.
Yeah.
I'm a stranger to them. I should say hello and let them know that I'm starting school next Monday? Question mark?
Finally, we've been waiting for so long. Oh, wow. Oh, this will change things because Keiichi's the 6 on the die. Yes, he is, but his die rolls a 1 far too often. Oh, that's not Keiichi's fault, though. It's all your fault on you. It's because of you. Apologize to Keiichi.
Do you know my name? She said my name, didn't she? Did I hear her wrong? I never met her before. I've never met this man in my life.
Oh, the pasta. Are you a new student?
Nice to meet you.
Well-
I'm Keiichi Maebara. I'm starting next Monday. Take care of me, okay?
We won't. Oh, wow, Star. Sure thing. Here's a message for you, Keiichi, from the Shrine Maiden of the Furude Shrine. On your first day, be careful when you come through the door to the classroom. Also, there'll be a thumbtack on the back of your chair. There'll be a toy frog in your desk, too. Oh, but even with this warning, you fall for it again and again. Oh, your money is going to be disastrous. Poor Keiichi. That's why it's fun. Why don't you try overcoming that fate sometime? You'll be the one to teach us that. In one of the many worlds, right?
Huh? What? I'll be reminded of the prophecy made by the 2 girls next Monday because of the actions of a snaggletooth girl.
That's a great word.
Yeah, I realize it too late, though. But I like it here. My name is Keiichi Maebara. This is my new beginning, and this time I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest. I've been missing out so much, but I'm going to learn all of those things here. I'm going to absorb all of it. I'm going to become someone I've always wanted to become.
A pervert.
May take a very long time, but I'll definitely do it.
Yay! Keiichi, best
What a
boy.
heartwarming conclusion
love
to
him.
this episode of Suffering.
I love him. I love Keiichi. I want him to be my spirit animal. He is my spirit animal. I
So,
will assure his safety with my
They've
life.
thrown the Han, you can't be seen thing out the window for the purposes of just this arc broadly.
so here's the thing. With Keiichi specifically, I would say that he can see her because their fates are so tied together. Like Keiichi, as the one who will break fate, is very much tied up with the character who like rewinds time.
Yeah,
So
but-
there's a bond. There's like a weird spiritual bond. His father, I don't have a very good explanation
But
for.
Takano also did it at the start of the arc too.
Yes, but they also have the weird fate thing,
Yeah.
right? Like they're fated opponents.
And the
in
question I'm
story.
trying to ask more is like, because obviously in
Yeah.
previous arcs,
Yes, in science-wise, you become more aware of Hanyu the higher your symptoms are. And, like, we could argue that Takano can see her because she's, like, got some syndrome up in her, but Keiichi definitely shouldn't at this point in the story.
yeah, I'm just wondering whether it's like a thing that is explicitly being done for arc 8 or whether it's trying to say that it is consistent across worlds. Because in
I mean,
one of the previous arcs,
Dad saw
I
them.
think Six Dad mentioned that he saw
Dad
2
did see
girls
them.
playing.
Yeah, he's the loose end. He's the loose end that I don't quite understand why we
Yeah.
actually did that except for
I don't-
poetic reasons.
I don't really mind if the
No.
story never answers that question. It's just kind of
fine.
like a fun thing to poke at.
It's fine. It's just a weird inconsistency, but it's fine. Like, it's there for dramatic effect.
It's so weird. Like, it took me a long time to realize it,
Yeah.
and you can watch me realizing it in Umaneko, our
Yeah.
playthrough. But like,
You
when
have
I
to realize
first
it
started
again.
getting into mystery novels, like before Umaneko, I always liked getting the full answers,
Yeah.
and it's just been so weird that the more of them I read, the less I like getting answers.
Yeah. How are you finding this one? Like, we're getting a lot of answers.
Yeah, but like at the same time, a lot of the answers that we're getting are more like context than really answers.
You're not wrong.
Like Takano is obviously answers, but at the same time, it's more like the breakdown scene for her where the detective comes in and says, and it was you, and here's why you did it. That's what we're getting with Takano.
Sure. We are the detective.
Whereas with some of the other stuff, like, God, there was, I'm going to remember this in editing, but there was one I was complaining about earlier where I was like, oh, that's cool, they didn't reveal this, and then the next scene they revealed it. It was one of these ones, I don't remember which.
It was Sadako's parents.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I remember the thing that you didn't. That's never happened before. But yeah, it was. You were like, yeah, I kind of like that it's left ambiguous as to whether Sadako killed her parents. And then the very next Sadako scene was Iri being like, she totally killed her parents. That just happened.
So I don't know. Like, it obviously depends on how it's delivered. And I think that's something else that I've discovered the more novels I've read as well. It's not like there's a consistent, perfect formula for it.
I mean, as always, like the best sort of ending is one in which there's still some ambiguity about the ending, but people who like understand the story should still like understand because of like the thematic ending, like context. I'm thinking of The Dwarf by Keiichi Kogoro, which has a double fake out ending, which we're not going to go into details on here. Go listen to our episode on Death of the Reader for that, or just read the book. Sorry, no, it's not by Keiichi Kogoro. It's by Edgar Rampo. Keiichi Kogoro is the detective.
Yeah.
But it has a double fake out ending, and the detective fiddles with the solution in such a way to like, because he has like a moral input on how the story gets resolved. And he kind of implies that, you know, the ending that he gave to the police was not the same as the actual truth. And but it's in such a way that like you as a reader could say, oh, he's just like playing with us. He's just like making a joke. But I personally, Benjamin Herder, I believe that he did fake the ending. Like that's just the thing that I believe. And I believe that's the subtext of the novel is that the detective does not always have to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And that's like what I derive from that story. But it's written in such a way that you might not like achieve that ending. You might not like believe that. And I think that's cool. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I like stories that don't necessarily reveal every single detail, but that you can, by context of the thematics of the story and the general rules that it's set up, figure it out anyway.
That said, one of the things that I've learned is I agree that a lot of the stories that I have liked have ambiguous endings.
Yeah.
But that done the right way, a completely solid ending can be the perfect thing for a story.
Sure, of course.
Like just actually fit, because that's like, you know, going back to the discussions we've had a lot about how TV shows take a while to kind of get into the swing of things, right? At the same time, a lot of TV shows and franchise TV shows in particular just don't know when to fucking quit. And that's the problem you get into if you try too much to actively write an ambiguous ending, I think, because you write an ambiguous ending, but it becomes a cliffhanger, so then you answer the cliffhanger and you keep going and you keep going. Sometimes it's just good to just fucking like, you know, kill a main character and like that's it, right?
I mean, it's frustrating if you had some kind of murder mystery show in which the main villain dies and then they have a fake out as like, did they bring them back or not? And then they do that again. And that's how they just drag the show out for as long as humanly possible. And then suddenly you're dealing with like the main character's estranged sister, apparently. I haven't seen this show, but I've heard horror stories and I know that Felix is familiar with it.
And a few of you as well, because we watched it with you.
It was great. Only the first season, sadly.
We should do another movie night.
We should watch more.
It was good fun.
More weird detective murder shit.
Anyway.
Next time.